Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada, where spring is upon us. The flowers are blooming and the temperature is warming up. Students, this is an IELTS speaking class. We will be focusing on the topic of a beautiful building for part 2. And part 3 questions will be about architecture, buildings, construction. As usual, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. These are our websites. They power these live classes. They contain all of our materials and all the materials you need to succeed on your test. Welcome, Carolina, our chat moderator. Hi, Ibrahim. Students, our websites look like this. This is our academic IELTS website here. You can click this big red button to join the premium package and get 2 extra live classes like this each week. Just click over there. It's a one-time payment, lifetime access. We're an IDP affiliate, British Council partner, IELTS Test Registration Center. We're here to help you. For the general IELTS, it's gieltshelp.com, green background. Again, click that big red button. When you do that, you can use the code FUTURE10 for an extra 10% discount. All right. So, students, again, aehelp.com, gieltshelp.com. We help thousands of students every single day. Become one of our success stories. These are all successful IELTS candidates here that have used our website. For those of you who are not premium students or premium students, to review these classes that are on Thursdays and Fridays, check that out. This Thursday, tomorrow, we'll have a reading class for premium users, and we'll have another speaking class on Friday. Today we will have speaking. We will use Zoom together with YouTube, and you can practice your speaking with me. I will ask you questions and give you band score estimates. You can also download the app Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help and link that to the websites. If you have questions, just send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com. Of course, you can ask me questions in the chat in this class also. Okay, so here's our schedule again. It's speaking right now for everybody on YouTube, and then tomorrow we'll have reading that's purely through Zoom, and speaking, which is also, again, purely through Zoom. Subscribe to our channel. Click the bell so you get those notifications of new videos and such. Here is a speaking video that you can check out. There we go. And we'll get right into today's speaking lesson. So today's speaking lesson, make sure to speak and repeat. Don't be shy. Copy what I say, copy how I say it. I speak with a crisp, clean West Coast North American accent. So again, I'm in Victoria near Vancouver or Seattle. Anybody who is in this part of the world, all the way down to California, San Diego, San Francisco, Los Angeles, they kind of speak a very similar form of English. And actually East Coast US and Canada, like Toronto, New York, they also kind of speak a similar form of English. Central Canada, US, and Southern US, their English is a little bit different. I'm not sure why that is, but it's interesting that West and East Coast are kind of, maybe it's the ocean air, I don't know, makes our English crisp and clean. All right, but anyway, it's a good English to speak. A lot of people speak with this accent around the world, and of course much of the movie industry that influences the world language of English is from the East and West Coast of North America. Okay, students. So you get to your IELTS speaking test, and the IELTS speaking test could be conducted by a Canadian, an American, a Brit, an Australian, Irish, Scottish person, even a native person in your country who's got excellent English skills or expert English skills. So they could be an Indian national, for example. India does have English as an official language too. So, all right, students, so you go to your interview, I've said 40 minutes in the past, but you know what, I'm going to up that. Go 1 hour before your speaking starts. Get comfy and speak with other candidates. Very important before your exam. Okay? Do not wait to meet with the examiner for you to start speaking English. It's really important that you warm up your English speaking skills before you sit with the examiner. Okay, everyone? Super important. All right, so then you'll check in 20 minutes before you meet with the examiner. They'll ask you to leave your belongings like your mobile phone or smartwatch and such. They'll tell you can only take your pencil, maybe an eraser, pen, and a bottle of water with you. No writing on it. They'll take a picture of you. And then you go into the exam room and you meet with your examiner face to face, or you might do a computer-based version where it's more kind of like this through the computer at the exam center. The examiner is there to do their job. If they look happy or grumpy, it probably has nothing to do with you. It just has to do with their morning or their life. They're there to do one job and one job only. It is to assess and measure your communication skills in English. Not as an English teacher. They are not English teachers. It is not an English as a second language exam. They're not thinking about you as like, hey, here's an English foreign speaker. They don't care about that. You could be a native speaker for all they care. Their job is to establish how well do you communicate in English. That's their job. Okay? A native speaker speaking casual, fluent English is about a band 7. Okay, keep that in mind. So a native speaker speaking casual, fluent, accurate English is a band 7. It's and it says that in the band descriptors. If you look at it, it describes that English. It says it's good English. Right? That's good English. Good English. Okay. You could have a non-native speaker speaking with an accent, with a couple of mistakes. Not many though, right? With a couple of mistakes. Speaking fluent, professional English, communicating effectively, and get a band 9, which is expert English. Okay, so it's not about native English speaker. Nobody cares about that. Okay, everybody got that? So does everybody understand the nature of the IELTS exam? IELTS is not a second language exam. It is an English proficiency exam. If you're not sure what that means, look up the definition for proficiency. Proficiency means that you can profess or communicate. Okay? It doesn't mean you can talk. Okay? All right. Everybody got that? Thumbs up. So do you understand what the IELTS speaking exam is? Unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of teachers' videos that say, oh, it's a second language exam. You have to really focus on your pronunciation. Or, oh, you have to really focus on your vocabulary. Or you have to use idioms to sound like a native English speaker. No, you really don't. You just have to speak professionally, or you have to communicate well. Okay? All right. Which makes sense, right? You don't have to be a native English speaker to be a professor at a university or to do a job. You just have to be a professional. Okay. So you go and you see the examiner, and the examiner will introduce themselves, and then they will introduce the exam. They will say, welcome to the speaking section of the IELTS exam. My name is Adrian. I will be your examiner for this part of the test. The test has 3 parts. I will give you instructions for each. We are conducting this exam in Victoria at Exam Center 7YQ93. This is examiner number 44321. And candidate number 997847632. I'm recording this for clerical and marking purposes. Is that okay? Yes? All right. The exam has 3 parts. I'll give you instructions for each, and I'm going to begin. Nick is saying, if I speak fluently but use basic words and communicate well, do I get a high score, Nick? Yeah, you can. Absolutely. You can communicate fluently with basic words and communicate well. You can still get a band 7.58, maybe even an 8.5. Yeah. Okay. All right. IQ Gaming. IELTS has remained the same more or less since 2010. Okay. Really hasn't changed much at all. So even if you have books from 2010 IQ Gaming, everybody, just so again you're aware, I am looking at the chat. I'm looking at you. This is an interactive class. All right. So cool. All right. So here we go. And then the examiner says, the first question they usually ask you is, may I see your identification? What's a response to that? So if they ask you this question, may I see your identification? What should you say? Lots of students in here now. I'm sure you have some good opinions of how you should answer that question. You've got a professional with a necktie or a suit or a nice dress sitting in front of you, and they're going, may I see your identification? Nick says, of course, here it is. Yep, that's okay, Nick. I would say that's about as simple as I would go. I would definitely not go any simpler than that. In fact, I would actually probably suggest, Nick, that you go a little bit, even for the simplest, okay? So the simplest answer, or I should say the simplest professional answer, is something like what Nick is saying. But even with Nick here, I would probably, because it's professional and they're professional, I would probably add, please take a look, right? So this would be like the most basic professional answer. Okay. Abdul Raksim says, yes, sure. Here is my ID card that I used to register for this exam. That's good. Okay. Alexander says, Shirley, this is my passport, which I have used during registration for this test. Please have a look at my credentials. Good. Okay. I am really happy to see that people are not saying yes or sure or here. Okay, good. What is your full name? Again, answer professionally, students, and repeat. My given name is Peter, and my surname is McKinley. Please just call me Pete. Sure. Okay. So again, repeat after me. What is your full name? My given name is Peter and my surname is McKinley. Please just call me Pete. Okay. Then they'll ask you a couple of questions to get you comfortable. A lot of people on the internet and other places will say, oh, don't worry about these. They're not marking you. Don't worry about it. Just take it easy. If you make a mistake, it's all good. I mean, never panic. Even if you make a mistake in part 1 or 2 or 3, don't panic for sure. Don't freak out. But you need to answer these questions well. The examiner is measuring your communication from the time you walk in that door. So even just the confidence that you have going into the room is important. So yeah, maybe they're not writing down marks yet, but in their head, if you can't answer the question, do you work or study, then they're like, well, this is probably not a band 9 candidate if they can't tell me if they work or study, right? So focus on these questions, practice them, prepare them. Also for you, because that way you're going to be confident. When you answer these questions with confidence and well, then you're going to have a strong start to part 1, 2, and 3, right? Okay. So do you work or study? I am both a student and an employee. I am currently studying my bachelor's of science, hoping to do a master's in chemistry, and I am working as a server in a restaurant to pay my way through school. Okay, so this would be your Band 9 answer. This is considered a professional, fluent, expert level answer. Okay, so again, repeat after me. Do you work or study? I am both a student and an employee. I'm currently studying my bachelor's of science, hoping to do a master's in chemistry, and I am working as a server in a restaurant to pay my way through school. What's a Band 6, Ibrahim? What's a Band 6? That doesn't mean anything when you just put Band 6 up there. Is my answer a Band 6? Your answer a Band 6? Somebody else's answer a Band 6? What does that mean? Full sentences, students. Julia says, good to see you, Julia. Julia says, currently I'm working as a pharmacist in one of the local pharmacies. Yeah, and Julia, what I would do is I would actually paraphrase pharmacies so it's not so repetitive. So I would say, currently I am working as a pharmacist in one of the local drugstores or apothecaries. I can't spell that word, but something like that. Apothecary. There you go. Currently, I'm working as a pharmacist in one of the local drugstores or apothecaries, or apothecary, something like that, right? Okay. Yeah, so there you go. By the way, linking words, what Ibrahim is talking about here, both and. What kind of conjunction is that in this example? So the example I gave you, I am both a student and an employee. I'm currently studying my bachelor's of science. What kind of linking word is this? The examiner will pick this up and then go, wow, okay, this student really knows their conjunctions, right? Linking words should not be thought of as linking words. You should learn proper grammar and grammar expression. Linking words is casual English. And in professional English, they're called conjunctions. Okay, there's 3 families. Very good. Very good, Shiva. Shiva says those are correlative ones that you used. Yeah. So we have coordinating, correlative, and subordinating. Okay. If you want those high scores, students like Band 8, Band 9, learn professional English. If you're watching casual videos online where they're using words like linking words, then you're more kind of learning for a Band 7. If you're learning from materials that use professional English expressions like conjunctions, then you're learning professional English. In our websites, when you log in and you go through your courseware, for instance, you go through your bonus writing course. I'm not going to go through it right now, but when you go through that, you'll learn words like correlative, subordinate, and coordinating conjunctions. So again, for professional English study, sign up for our course. We're not going to teach you just casual English. We're going to teach you professional English so you can aim for those higher band scores, okay? And that's what the course includes. It includes, I mean, I don't want to downplay casual English, because casual English is useful, I think, in the IELTS, absolutely, and in the speaking. But you need to have a good combination of casual with professional. Okay, thanks, Carolina, for putting the link in there. So yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, just click that button and you're good. Okay. All right. So having said that, the examiner will then kind of start on the topic of part 1. So they'll start with something like this. Let's continue now with part 1. Let's talk about your hometown. Sultan, I'll take a look at your answer in just a moment. Answer this one. Where did you grow up? Okay. Your hometown can be where you were born. It's usually referred to as the place where you grew up. Okay, so where did you grow up? I grew up in Victoria in a 4-bedroom house in the district of Oak Bay with my 2 brothers and parents. It used to be a quaint city with lots of suburban neighborhoods, but since then it has ballooned to over 1 million residents and is now considered a big city. Okay, so something like that for an accurate answer. Okay. All right. Abraham, good. Nice. Abraham's got a good answer here. I can tell he's thought about it and he's giving me a professional answer. Abraham says, my hometown where I was born and raised is Palembang. It is the capital of South Sumatra province, located in the south of Sumatra Island in Indonesia. It is the oldest city in my nation, 2,000 years old, and is known as the City of River. Very nice answer. Okay, yeah. So if you're kind of sounding like a tour guide, guess what? Tour guides are professionals. So that's what you should sound like. Does Abraham sound kind of like a tour guide in Palembang? Yeah, he does. Yeah, you kind of sound like a tour guide. That's what I would expect a tour guide to say if they were born there. And then I would give him a band 9 because I would say that's professional. I feel like I'm being guided through Palembang by a professional, right? Okay. And then the questions kind of get more and more challenging. So they increase in grammatical difficulty. Like, for example, this question here, everybody. Have there been any changes to your town, city since your childhood? So go ahead and answer that question for me. Now, hint, hint, everybody. Use the present perfect. Always use the grammar of the question. Okay, in IELTS, if you want those higher scores, always use the grammar of the question in your answers to get better scores. Okay, very important. So in everyday casual English, we don't really do that. We just kind of answer. We're like, yeah. But in the IELTS, you need to take that extra step. So yes, there have been many changes since I was a kid 30 years ago. Okay. So right away I use that. Yes, there have been many changes since I was a kid 30 years ago in Victoria. Not only has it tripled in population, as I had previously mentioned, but it has also become an economic powerhouse and a real estate hub, as millionaires from around the world have sought to reside in Victoria over the last 3 decades for its natural beauty and incredible coastline. The average house in Victoria now costs $1 million US. Okay, which is true. If you're planning to come to Victoria, renting a 1-bedroom apartment is close to $2,000 a month. And it's $1 million US for a house. Yeah. It used to be about $100,000 when I was a kid. It's 10 times more expensive now that I'm an adult. All right. So again, use the question and give clear answers. Usually your answers for the last couple in part 1 tend to be a little bit longer because they're more complicated questions too, right? So try to repeat this one after me. I'm going to go piece by piece, okay? Have there been any changes to your town or city since your childhood? Yes, there have been many changes since I was a kid 30 years ago in Victoria. Try it. Not only has it tripled in population, as I had previously mentioned, but it has also become an economic powerhouse and real estate hub as millionaires from around the world have sought to reside in Victoria over the last 3 decades for its natural beauty and incredible coastline. And then it's good often to include an example, students, like this. The average house in Victoria now costs $1 million US. Okay. So lots of present perfect there, lots of reflecting that present perfect grammar. Okay. And that's how you aim for those higher scores. All right. Very nice. I see some beautiful answers there in the chat. Juan has this one for us. Good to see you, Juan. Juan says, yes, there have. Nowadays, there are more houses and tall buildings downtown. Also, traffic is a big issue, especially during rush hour. While I remember it used to be really quiet when I was a kid. Yeah, same thing here, Juan, in Victoria. Yeah, you would hardly see cars on the weekend, especially early morning. Now it's just like cars all day. Juan, use more present perfect. Okay, so if I were to give this answer, I think this is a good answer, Juan. I think it's like a band 7.5, 8, 8.5 maybe. But if you want to have that clear band 9, Juan, then you need to really just drive home that present perfect, okay? So I would do it like this. Yes, there have. Nowadays, there are more houses and tall buildings downtown. Also, and this is because it's change over time, right, Juan? Traffic has become, all right, a big issue, right? You want to emphasize that change over time, okay? And those get you marks. Those are the kinds of attention to detail that get you that little bit of a higher mark, okay? All right. So and then the examiner will end part 1 and then they'll start part 2, and in part 2 they'll get you to respond to a cue card. So they'll open up a booklet, and in that booklet they'll have this kind of question, which you should definitely practice before, lots of them, before the test, because it's not really normal conversation. Most of us don't run around in our day giving 2-minute presentations to people on topics. So you really want to practice this before you're speaking. And the examiner will say that's the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. For this part, I will show you a card with some questions. You will have 1 minute to read these questions, think about your answers, and then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start and when to stop. Is that clear? You can take notes in the 1 minute time if you wish. And then you can say, yep, that's clear. I practiced for the test. IELTS examiner will be happy to hear that. And then they'll say, not task, that's silly. They'll say talk. Talk about a beautiful building in your city. Talk about a beautiful building in your city. Your 1 minute preparation time begins now. And then you read the questions. So you go, okay, that makes sense. I'll read the questions. 1 minute is a lot of time as long as you know what to do. So you read the questions. Talk about a beautiful building in your city. What is this building? Where is it located? What is it used for? What makes this building beautiful? Okay, good. And then you go, okay, so this has to be a building, right? So it's a place. A place, you need to describe the appearance, the location, okay, the attendees, who goes there, the function, and your experience. So if I were to be asked this question, I would probably think of a few, like the legislative building, as Victoria is the capital city of British Columbia, so it's got a parliament building. I would also think about the Empress Hotel, the Laurel Point Inn. These are all beautiful buildings in Victoria. And then maybe I would stick with the Empress Hotel, which is ranked number 6 most historic and beautiful hotel in North America, found in Victoria, or maybe number 6 in the world. It was built over 100 years ago and looks somewhat like a castle situated right downtown overlooking the inner harbor. Okay, so I would talk about the Empress Hotel and give you lots of amazing information. I'm not going to do that right now just because I want you to speak and not me to speak. So students, Parthiv says, sir, how do you expand this answer? By talking about what it looks like, its location, the people that go there, the function of what happens. Like in the Empress Hotel, not only do people spend their night there, it has luxurious rooms, 5 stars, king-size beds, some of the most beautiful views of the city, but it also has a spa, restaurants, shops, at very high end. So if you're looking for a new Louis Vuitton bag, you can definitely buy it at the Empress Hotel, right? So you talk about all of the activities. There's functions throughout the year, conferences, different exhibitions. So lots going on there, okay? Yeah, Juan, you have to limit yourself. So you have to think about balancing how much time you spend on each of these points, okay? So, and pay attention to the cue card, students. So answer these. What is this building? Where is it located? What is it used for? And what makes this building beautiful? Yeah. So really focus on all of those, okay? All right, students, I want to give you a chance to continue from here. I'm sure you've heard me speak lots now, and we're going to use this link to chat with each other for the next 25 minutes or so in Zoom. So be brave and volunteer. I'm going to start up this Zoom session and put on my headphones. I will continue to use my camera on YouTube, but you're welcome to use your camera on Zoom so we can see your face. It'll make it a little bit more fun for your classmates as well. So I'll give it a second for everybody to join in. Again, here's the Zoom link, and we're going to start with part 2 this time. So we're going to skip through the whole beginning and jump right into part 2. Okay. I can see there are 7 people already in here, which is fantastic. I think we've got 120 or so viewers. We did a second ago. which is good. Let's get everybody into the Zoom session here. We've got Minnie, Parthif, Juan, Abraham, Alexander, Nick, Hong Fap, Ivan, El Tayeb. Looking good, everybody, looking good. All right. Tajkeya. Let's get Tajkeya in here as well. We'll mute everybody. Students, if you want to volunteer, then please use the react button and put your hand up like I just did, and lower your hand if you don't. Okay. Let's start with Ivan today. Ivan, can you unmute yourself?
Hello, my name is Ivan. Can you hear me clearly, or?
I can. And do you pronounce your name Ivan or Ivan?
Ivan would be better, I think.
Ivan. All right, Ivan. Welcome. Is this your first time?
No. I had before some conversations with you on Zoom.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I remember.
Maybe this sound is better.
Oh, it's way better. Yeah, I don't know where you just switched to, but that's like, I don't know, 5 times better. All right. Ivan, thank you for that. Yeah, thank you. Much better. It sounds like you're using a condenser mic like me, like this guy. Yeah. Okay, cool. Ivan, where are you? What part of the world?
I'm in Central Asia, in Uzbekistan, in the capital of Uzbekistan, in Tashkent.
Nice. Well, I'm sure you've got a few beautiful buildings there, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so let's do this part 2. I think you had a bit of time to prepare. So I'll just start you off and then give the answer, and I'll give you some feedback after, okay?
Mm-hmm. I can start right now?
Yeah, I'll start you off. So just give me a sec. So so talk about a beautiful building in your city. Your 1-minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
One of the most beautiful buildings in my city, Tashkent, is Minor Mosque. It is located near the Anhor Canal in the central part of my city. The mosque is a well-known landmark and attracts both locals and tourists. The Minor Mosque is mainly used for prayers, especially on Fridays and religious holidays. Many people visit it not only for worship, but also to enjoy its peaceful atmosphere and admire its beauty. Also, what makes this building special is its bright white marble structure and beautiful blue dome. Also, the combination of white and blue gives it an elegant and calm look. What's more, the detailed patterns on the walls and the reflection of the mosque's nearby water make it even more impressive. It is a perfect place to visit for those who love architecture and want to see the rich culture of Uzbekistan.
Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there, and we'll go on to part 3. All right. For part 3, I will ask you some questions related to your response and connected to this topic. When is the last time you went to this mosque?
The last time when I went to this mosque was 2 years ago with my friends, and it was an unforgettable time because we spent some hours there and learned some things from experienced people who pray there and know much more than us.
Okay. Ivan, my good man. That was fantastic. What do you think, everybody? What score do you think the examiner would give Ivan for that? Ivan, I'm going to see what your peers think before I give you my estimate on that. But what do you think? Juan says 9. Risham says 7. Abraham says 7.5. Hopping Up says 9, hands down. Let me ask you this, everybody. Did Ivan sound like a tour guide talking about the sorry if I don't pronounce it wrong, did you say Minor Mosque?
No, it was Minor Mosque.
Minor,
like this.
Minor Mosque. Yeah, okay, that's
That's
what I thought it was. Minor Mosque. Okay. So look at, you know, I think your peers are a little bit they're all over the board. So some want to give you 6.5 like Navneet. and then some like Juan and Hoppenop want to give you a 9. And Alexander says, it sounds like you kind of prepared that answer beforehand, which is totally fine. Which is totally fine, students. If you do, that is totally okay. So did you, Ivan, did you prepare this answer before the class?
I had this topic before, but I think somewhere 2 months ago, and I wrote the answer on the paper, but now I don't have it. I remember a bit of this answer. I remember that I thought about the minor most, and I decided to tell about this, and someone who can think that I read this, it's not true.
There. You know what? But that's a compliment. So somebody's saying it sounds like he read this. Take that as a compliment, right? So it's like, great.
Okay.
That's a good sign if somebody thinks that you're reading that, right? Yeah, that's a band 9, students. That would definitely be a band 9. You know, some examiners, just because they'll give you an 8.5, but that's an 8.5 to a 9, no question. It's exactly what they're looking for. You're using a lot of grammar, a lot of different conjunctions. It's a very clear description. It's inspiring. I want to go visit this mosque if I'm in Tashkent.
Yeah,
It certainly sounds like,
a good place.
yeah, and you're using some, like, I couldn't keep up with the typing, even though I type pretty fast. You were very fluent. And you gave some very clear descriptive sentences. Like you said, what makes this building special is its bright white marble and large bright dome. And I can visualize it. Like, I can see this mosque without actually looking at a picture. So, and then you even said it is perfect for those who are into architecture and are into building design. And you really emphasize the topic of the card very effectively. So great job, Ivan. Great job. And thank you so much for giving an excellent example and inspiring others. Ivan, I think you're
It's
inspiring
funny
others.
that my teacher said the same things as you, because when I said my answer 2 months ago, somewhere he said the same, that he can visualize this mosque. And thank you.
And that's good communication. I mean, if you ask an expert what is good communication, they will tell you that that's one part of expert communication, is when I can see what you're talking about without actually seeing it. So, so yeah, that's another good sign when you're hearing different experts or teachers say, giving you the same feedback. That's a pretty strong indicator that you're on the right track for sure. So keep it up, Ivan. Keep it up, and I hope you come back again and share another amazing answer with us in the future. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Wait for the others, volunteers.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you, Ivan. All right, let's take somebody else. Juan, we haven't heard from you in a while, and I don't think you've ever told us about a beautiful building in your area. So why don't you chime in, Juan?
Hello, Adrian. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Juan. How are you?
I'm doing okay. What about you?
I am doing good. That's a tough act to follow, isn't it, Juan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for myself.
Oh, Juan. No, but you know what? I think you've got great attitude, and I know you have good English, so I'm not concerned. The expression I just used there, by the way, everybody, is that's a tough act to follow. It's kind of like being on one of those talent shows, and you know you have to go after some incredible like 10-year-old singer or something like that, right? You're just like, guys, can I just wait another turn? So it's a tough act to follow, is the expression. Okay, but I'm sure you'll do well, Juan. Expression meaning it's challenging. And you know, here's an interesting tip, by the way, everybody, for the IELTS. It happens, right? Those IELTS examiners, they have literally one candidate coming after the next. It's like one candidate, next candidate, next, and you have no idea who was before you. So you have no idea if the person who was in the speaking interview before you is a band 9 or a band 4, right? You have
That's good.
Right, you have no idea. So you know, maybe Ivan came before you, maybe not. You don't know. And that's why for part 2 students, you want to be original. So, for example, if you're from the UAE and this question comes up, you might not want to talk about the Burj Khalifa, because maybe every other person's talking about the Burj Khalifa, so maybe choose a different building, right? So that you're not being kind of measured with that. So again, if you're in Tashkent, maybe you don't want to be talking about this building if it's the most popular building, right?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, just give me a second. I'm just typing
Okay.
something up here. So that's a tough act to follow is an expression meaning it's challenging to do after the previous example has been set or the previous benchmark. Okay, but anyway, Juan, let's do this. I'm going to start you off. Are you good?
Yes.
Okay. Talk about a beautiful building in your city. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
A very beautiful building in my city. It's a Catholic church, which is located downtown, just in front of City Hall in my city. It covers an area of about 50 by 50 meters, probably, and probably 3-story tall. And if you count, I mean, considering the bell tower, it's probably like 5 or 6 story tall. And it has a big clock. And when I was a kid, and everyone used to rely on it because it was very accurate. And nowadays it's used, well, obviously by the Catholic people. They usually have mass during, I mean, on Sundays. And also it's used a lot for people that want to get married, even if they are not Catholic or religious people. They use a lot because it's really beautiful, and a lot of people want to take pictures there. Its architecture, it's kind of, I think, it's an influence from Spain, kind of colonial, and that makes it really beautiful. And also it is surrounded by a lot of nature because it's also close to a park, so there is a lot of greenery and trees and different kinds of trees. Yeah, sometimes I pass by on the weekends, and it's really crowded inside and outside because there is usually some couple getting married.
Okay, your 2 minutes is up. I'm going to stop you there, and we'll go on to part 3. Juan, that was awesome. That was awesome. Question: does this Catholic church have a name? Often the churches will have names like St. Andrew's or St. Paul's or something like that. Does this one have a name?
I don't think so. No.
Really?
I think it's just called Cathedral.
It's a cathedral. Okay, all right.
Mhm,
It's
yeah.
interesting. I'd check into that, Juan, because I have a feeling it probably does, even if it's not commonly used. I have a feeling it probably does. Most churches will be christened under some saint or a religious person, like Saint Mary's or something like that. So check into it. But anyway, not a huge deal. Not a huge deal. Could you just tell everybody where your city is?
It is called General Roca.
Can you spell that?
General space ROCA.
General Roca. Okay. Oh, yeah. All right. Tricky. Okay. Good. Okay. In Argentina, yes.
It is in honor to a general, which last name was Roca.
Okay,
So-
it's like General. Okay, gotcha. All right. I thought that was fantastic. So I actually felt, that I could visualize what you're talking about quite clearly as well. So I thought it was really good. I would give your response like a band 7.5, so somewhere between good and very good. A couple of points to improve. Juan, I think I've mentioned this before. Students, use affirmative language in your speaking. Affirmative language will be coherent and effective. Okay, so do you know what affirmative language means, Juan?
Yeah, I think so. I don't really know how to explain it.
Okay, the reason I'm laughing is like you're like, yeah, I think so. It's not affirmative language. Okay.
Bien posible, claro.
Yes, I do is affirmative language. Okay, so yeah, I think so is what we would call uncertain, right? And yes, I
Yeah.
do is affirmative language. So what I mean in your response, and I think others probably heard this as well, is that what I just did using probably. Like you said, it's probably covering 50 by 50 meters. It's probably 6 stories tall. And I think you used the word probably about 4 or 5 times for sure.
Wow.
And it was kind of like, is it? Isn't it? What is it? So it does become confusing for the listener if you're using a lot of maybes and probablys and I think and it's like, and then ultimately at the end, the listener's like, well, what is it? Is it a 6-story church on a 50 by 50 lot? So you want to kind of focus on that, and even if you're not sure, just say it like you're sure. Okay, just to be clear.
Yeah.
Just to be clear on the IELTS. Just to be clear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So use that affirmative language. Then there were a couple of other like slight, like just little pieces that could be better. Like for example, when you said it is also used by people who want to get married, that if you want to say that clearer, what should you say, Juan? It is also.
Weddings.
Yeah, thank you. It is also used for weddings.
Yeah.
Okay. And sometimes a native speaker will do the same. Like they'll say it's also used by people who want to get married. But then, your friend will say, so you mean like weddings, right? And then you'll be like, yeah, that's what I mean. So that's the difference between a band 7 and a band 9 approach, right? Is using that more accurate term, right? So it's just those little nuances, but that's okay. And that's what you want to review for. So Juan, when you're doing this at home, record yourself. Mm-hmm. Think about, okay, how could I say this so it's more affirmative, so it's a stronger delivery, it's more confident, and what can I replace or say differently to make it concise and just more accurate in my diction, and then you just want to keep progressing and improving that aspect. But overall, I think your English is fantastic, Juan. So students, if you're able to speak like Juan, you're golden. You're going to get a high band score for sure. Okay. So Juan, thank you. Yep. Yep. Go ahead.
We sometimes for some reason want to be sincere. I don't know why, but we forget that considering IELTS, no one is going to go and check the information, right? And also, sometimes I speak like you said in that example with a lot of words because we want to follow the time, and sometimes we feel like we're lacking words.
But you don't, and then oftentimes, especially candidates that are your level, they realize too late that it's like, oh, I had a lot more to say. I'm realizing now that I haven't talked about the church grounds, like the park that surrounds the church, which is also part of the church and quite beautiful. Or I haven't talked about the spire at the top of the building, which is very ornate, or the inside of the church and the ceiling, which is painted with beautiful frescoes. Does this, because Catholic churches usually have frescoes, does this church have frescoes? Like, are there paintings on the inside?
I don't recall because the last time I was inside, I was a kid. So
okay, you can make it up. All right, but overall very good. And again, everybody listening, Juan is right. We do want to be sincere. We want to be honest with the examiner, but you cannot do that and sacrifice confidence or fluency for that purpose, because ultimately, to the examiner, sadly but true, you're just a number. And they're not going to remember you, but they'll just mark you for what you say, right? So for the test, you have to keep that in mind. Juan, thank you so much. That was really good. I appreciate you for that.
Thanks to you, and see you tomorrow.
Okay, see you tomorrow. Everybody, please give a thumbs up to Juan. I'm going to end our Zoom there. If you want to participate in longer Zoom sessions with more chances to interact, please join us at aehelp.com, which is our academic IELTS website, and gieltshelp.com. Tomorrow, for our premium users, we'll have some longer Zoom sessions. Tomorrow's will be a reading one. We're out of time for today. These classes go from 6:30 to 7:30 my time, or 14:30 to 15:30. The times will be changing next week, everybody, because we have a daylight savings. So we're turning the clocks back, which I believe means that everybody, your classes will be 1 hour earlier starting next week. Okay, thanks to daylight savings, which I hate. I hate daylight savings. I hate changing clocks. I think that's so silly, but we do it here in Canada, in British Columbia. So we'll be changing our clocks, so watch out for the changing of the time. Classes will be 1 hour earlier, I believe. Yeah, I'll have to double check that. Yeah, Anna says I hate time changes too. I do too. I'm on the same page. Yeah. Okay, everybody, check out our websites. gieltshelp.com is this green one. For general IELTS students, click the big red button. Boop, 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 right there. And for academic, it's the blue background. Again, click that right there. Carolina, you're just so awesome. Carolina says, I haven't received the links for the premium classes. I'll check into that. If they're not out, then I will send it out. I thought I sent them. I thought I did, Carolina. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But I'll take a look into that. Okay. No worries. I will check the Zoom links and I'll send them out today. Okay. All right, everybody. Have an awesome rest of your day. Think about those beautiful buildings, all the effort that went into them, and think about how to describe them effectively. Practice talking about places before your IELTS exam. Wherever you are in the world, have a fantastic rest of the day. Much love to all of you. I'm Adrian, signing out from Western Canada here in Victoria. Bye for now, everybody.